Hello everybody, welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 4.5. We're here on my home island and it's time to start another episode. So, done just a little bit of work again between episodes because like I said last episode, I'm kind of intent on getting a lot of things done very quickly over the next few weeks. So, the first thing that's happened is, as you can see out the back here, I've started clearing away the top of this island here so that we can place down some clay and turn this into its own little wasteland island. While I was working on this, I thought it might be pretty cool and just kind of go with the Wastelands vibe if right in front of us, right where we spawn, we have some form of like skull marking or something like that, just some sort of form of marking on the ground here. I'll probably end up using snow because I saw on the forums at one point somebody using snow in amongst stone and it makes it look like painted lines, which I really like the look of. So I'm definitely going to add something like that in at the back there. Then also, I haven't actually touched the volcano. As you can see, we're still at the same place we were last time. However, I did go out and collect all of the blindstone I need to finish this thing off. So that's going to be the very next thing that we've done, or we are going to do here, is to finish this guy off and just, like I said, get this done and dusted and finished and where I wanted it to be last time. We're also going to finally knock out this little island up here. I know I keep mentioning it, but it's going to happen. As soon as the volcano is in, we're going to knock this little guy out just so that we're not looking at that all the time. And then finally, I have made a small addition to the cave down here. So all this clay was already here that I built that up last time. But what I've done in here is I've now added some braziers and fire pits down in under the floor. And I've used rustwood in them to get them to give off this kind of red colored smoke just so that you can actually see through the cave without having to carry around torches in here. In fact, it looks even better without torches than it does with torches. So if I pull my torch out, you see the effect gets hugely diminished and it doesn't quite look as good. I'm not quite sure how this is going to come through on the YouTube render. I might have to fiddle around with some of these settings just so you can see what I'm going on about here. But these things were actually inserted into the floor simply by digging a hole 3 down and then digging 1 layer underneath the floor level and placing things in. So there are gravel spots around near all of the things that I've placed in just because that is where I went down in underneath the floor to put all this stuff in. And then, I mean, I was already putting gravel and stuff in the floor, so it's not really a break in the theme at all. Plus, when you're running around in here without torches, you can't see the floor most of the time anyway, so it works quite well, I think. So yeah, and then, like I said, I managed to start collecting some more blindstones. We actually have enough blindstone now to finish this build off. Like I said last episode, I need 14 and a bit stacks, so I am, I think, 22 blindstone over what I need to finish this volcano off from my last set of calculations. So I'm going to take all of that because we are going to start building this thing up pretty soon. Oh, the final thing you may have noticed while I've been wandering around and talking to you is my brand new scimitars that I have here. A very big thank you to Brownie Pie for building these up for me. So these things are Abyssium handles and Verdinite blades, just kind of going along with the color scheme that I have here. Because I like green and black. This is kind of why I'm dressed the way I am and why all of my weapons kind of end up along these color lines. So yeah, I'm going to wait for the sun to disappear and come back, and then we're going to start work on this volcano. Once again, I'm going to time-lapse this thing. I might even actually do the time-lapse from this view so you guys can see it extend up to the upper reaches up there. Oh, final little thing I want to mention is that the island is actually now fully complete. If I go out here very quickly, you can see that we've managed to finish off all of the clay that was needed for this build. So we don't need any more clay for the main section. As I mentioned last time, I will be using it to kind of roof the cave off properly, just for my own convenience and for my own peace of mind, basically. I know you won't be able to see it too much, but I would prefer to have it than not have it, is basically what I'm doing here. So, like I said, this is out the back here, and you can see that we have absolutely no holes in our clay patch, which is perfect. We are going to have to modify this floating island up here to have a clay top on it at some point in time, but like I said, we'll get to that later on. Okay, so I think it's time for me to grab my camera account out and start a time lapse. There we go, one volcano complete. Well, at least the outline shape is now complete. So, as you can see by having a look at this thing, it does look a little bit unnatural. If I just jump back out here onto this platform again, give you a bit of a better look at it. It looks okay, but having the completely rounded top on it is very, very unnatural. So, what I'm thinking about doing is I'm going to jump up there at some other point, probably a little bit later in this video, and carve the top out a little bit. And we're also going to start a bit of a lava flow coming down this thing as well. So it's definitely going to be one of the things I want to get done this episode. And yeah, we're going to start, next up, we're going to clean out that little island up there that we've got. And as I said, I've mentioned this a couple of times, wanting to get rid of that. So we're definitely going to do that pretty soon. Yeah, we need to carve the top of this out a little bit because having the perfectly round volcano is just not very natural, and it doesn't look as good as it could if I if I leave it like that, basically. So definitely want to carve that out and kind of prep that and make it look okay. The other thing I want to show you is how we're going to do the lava. So I'm just going to pick up these things out of here. But while we were back in Alpha 4, I actually spent a bit of time farming. I spent a whole day and a little bit farming crimsonite so that I could do this and get 3 and a bit stacks of crimsonite. So this here will actually translate to 100 plus blocks of crimsonite, which will be perfect to get down this volcano as a bit of a lava flow. So of course I am also going to need to plug the top up here and make some form of pit that holds some lava. I'm not going to have enough to do that in crimsonite, so what I'm thinking is I've been farming for other things in 4.5 and ended up with a whole bunch of knots. So the plan here is actually going to be to buy just an entire rucksacks full of rustwood, come back, turn it all into blocks, use that to fill in the gap to make it look like lava at the top there, and then we're going to run the lava flow down the front of the volcano. So yeah, the next thing that I really want to do though is I really want to jump up there and get rid of that one floating island. However, I think I am actually out of verdnite pickaxes, which is what I want to do this with, so I'm just going to have a quick look. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to have to build up some verdnite pickaxes here real quick, and then we can get started on doing all of that stuff and clear out that thing, and then we can actually start on the really big project that I have for today. So, as I was mentioning last time, I'm really, really keen to get some of this iron here and build up a two very big statues out the front. So I have those plotted and planned out. I'm going to do these very similar to the way I did the owl and the snake on the SheepBall island. I'm just going to use a technique that I have that turns any 3D file into a voxel form, so I can cut that into pieces and see where blocks need, what blocks need to go where. And so there's going to be one on either side. I actually had to upscale these things, so I was doing a little bit of work trying to get these things into the voxel form and realize that if I don't make them like 26 blocks tall, some of the features kind of get a little bit lost in translation. So I kind of made them 20 something, 26 blocks tall, I think. So it's going to be pretty tall, not quite as tall as the volcano, and I want to sit them out a little bit further. So we'll probably actually end up sitting them kind of around here somewhere. So there's going to be the middle line here, and then we're going to go out one way and then build from, about here outwards, and then on the other side as well. This does mean that this cave entrance may have to be modified slightly, changed around a little bit, just to fit in the two statues that I'm making. Or I might even have it so that the statue foot goes over top of this thing, and then you kind of need to climb in around the statue to get down into the portal room. That could be quite cool. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to work out what I'm actually doing with all of this stuff, and whether or not I want these entrances down into the portal room to be hidden or not. But yeah, so that's the plan. Like I said, I'm now going to go over here and make up some pickaxes and knock out that island, and then we can get back together and have a look at this place once that island is gone. Bam! And the island is gone. And I've also just had a bit of a quick dig around at the top there, kind of rough that top edge up just a little bit. And as you can see, if I kind of jump back out here a little bit further, it looks good. It looks a lot better having that kind of roughed up edge around the top there. So I've only really gone kind of a couple of layers down with this, and even now it's looking really good. So I'm probably going to extend this out a little bit, make this drop down a little bit further so we can have our lava coming out from around about this kind of point here where I've got my mouse cursor. And then I'm going to do this roughing around the edges all the way around the top ring, just so that I've got kind of that kind of rough look all the way around. And so it looks a little bit more natural and a little bit more like it's actually a volcano and it's kind of exploded into being, rather than being like it is now, or like it was, where it had that kind of perfect circular ring at the top, which really kind of gave the impression of it being man-made. And of course, that's the other thing, is I'm always battling the fact that I am using stone brick. Like, I'm using this kind of brick texture. So this volcano is never going to look as perfect as it could if I had access to natural stone. But I'm just going to have to work with what I've got, and I'm going to have to do up the roughing around the edges and all that kind of stuff, and just keep working away at this and chipping bits out of it and kind of roughing up the edges and stuff until it looks like it's actually a volcano. And that's definitely what I want to do now. I'm going to do a little bit more work on this, and I'll pull you back in when we've got something that looks just a little bit better than this one right now. And there we go. Have a look at that. The volcano is looking so much better now. And there we go. That's the big crack that I was talking about putting into the top of this thing. And we're going to have the lava kind of dribbling out down the sides. I don't know quite how I'm going to do that yet, but it's probably going to like swirl its way around and down through here. And like I said, we'll do that all out of crimsonite, and we'll back it with some rustwood torches just to give it that kind of red glow that I really want to get out of this thing. And then, as you can see, if I go around the side here, I've done a little bit more kind of knocking away and stuff around the outside as well. Not as much as on the front, just a little bit here and there, just so that it kind of breaks up that rounded top look that we had going on earlier. So that's it. It looks pretty good, actually, I think. Once again, this island up here is going to have some work done on it, but I'm trying to prioritize my time right now. This type of like island removal and island changing type stuff is definitely a second tier need to do job at the highest. So that's going to stay up there for the moment. And I mean, it's on the back of the island, so most people aren't even going to get around here and have a look at this stuff. So that's completely fine. And yeah, like I said, just kind of going around and showing you the top of the volcano and showing you that I've kind of ripped some pieces out and left some pieces up there and just kind of roughed it up a little bit so that it doesn't look like that gigantic upside down funnel, which is what we had before. So yeah, that's it. That's how all of this is going. It's going pretty well, I think, and I'm actually pretty happy to just leave this alone for the moment. So the next thing that we're going to do, and what I've started marking out here, is the center line for the statues that I want to put in place. Because as I said, I have in mind to have two statues, one left and one right. So that as you come up, you've kind of got this volcano being guarded by these two gigantic statues is the plan. So they're going to be here and here. They're actually going to block a fair amount of view of the volcano, but that's okay. We'll probably kind of shoot off to the side one way or the other to put a viewing platform for the volcano, because of course, being a volcano, it does look pretty similar on all sides. And of course, we do have the tutorial island up there as well, which we can use as a bit of a viewing platform for the volcano if we need to. So yeah, these things that I'm putting in here, like I said, this is the center line. This is where I'm going to split them, and I'm probably going to go kind of 5 to 8 blocks out this way and then build the statues up on either side. That's actually going to work pretty well, I think, and it's going to give a fair amount of view of the volcano. Because if I go even 5 blocks out from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I'm starting at this point, as you can see, I'm already kind of starting here, so I'm going to have a lot of, like, this section is going to be covered by the statue, but all of the center stuff is going to stay exactly where it is, and you're going to be able to see that no matter what. So that's pretty good. I like that a lot. I've been doing a whole lot of work trying to get these things up and running and ready to go. I need to take a whole lot of screenshots of the actual build process so that I can then jump over to here and flick through them and build them one at a time. Or I might even just do kind of the base and middle of each of them first and then do the details that are different on the two of them. That might work a little bit better, I'm not quite sure yet. We'll see how all of that goes. So for now I'm going to stop rambling on here. I am going to keep marking out where I want these things to start, where I want them to stop. Just kind of build up a little bit of a bounding box for them, and then I'm going to put down the first few layers and see how all of this stuff goes. And I'll see you when we've got some stuff on the ground ready to go. So here we go. This is the start of these two gigantic iron sculptures going into place. So these are the boots, obviously, that are going to be worn by our two gigantic statues that are going to be in here. So as you can see, these things are absolutely massive, but that is exactly what we need for this build. So they have been hopefully aligned correctly so that when everything goes into place, this line here is going to be the center point. And as you can see, just based on the size of the shoes in this thing, these things are going to be pretty damn tall. So they actually might even end up dwarfing the volcano just because they're going to be closer to the spawn point. So they're actually going to end up potentially dwarfing this thing. Then as you walk through this way, you'll end up seeing more and more of the volcano. So as I kind of expected, this guy here is overlapping our cave just a little bit. So this is going to be kind of just a little bit of an overlap. So you, at least this way, I've actually got some way of telling people, oh, you want to get down to my portal room? Go to the rightmost gigantic sculpture, and then there's a cave. So it's going to be perfect. This will allow us to, yeah, just have a bit of a reference point for it, and all of that kind of stuff. And it's not covering up too much of this cave mouth at all, so we can easily get in and out without too much hassle. What it does mean, though, is that, of course, there is iron in through the middle here. The rest of these things are actually kind of hollow, so the base layer is hollow. It's just kind of the shell around the outside with no iron in underneath it. And then there are some other little bits in here that are hollow as well. And as we go up and build more and more of the statue, I'm actually going to try my absolute hardest to build this thing as hollow as I can, because it's going to use a lot of blocks. Already, so far, we have used nearly 300 blocks worth of iron. I started with something like 800 blocks, and I'm down to 500. So, and this is just the boots that we've got in place here. So I'm definitely going to need to go out and farm some more iron before we get this thing done. However, today we're probably not going to completely finish these things off. I want to at least get the body and the head in place for both of these things, and then the arms are going to have to come later at some other point. Probably next week we'll start off the episode by putting in the arms for these things. So, but for now, like I said, I don't think I have enough metal to actually complete this project. Even with the 8 to 10 stacks of iron ore that I have at home in the chest down there, I don't think I'm going to have enough. So we might actually have to go out and do a little bit of farming just to get up enough iron to complete this thing. But that's okay, we'll work all of that out as we go. And for now, I'm going to press on and I'm going to put up some more of these things. I think I'll work on the chest area now and just see how tall these things are going to be. Okay, so I've done a little bit more work on these things, but as you can see, I'm already getting really, really low on sky iron. So when I turn around, I actually had to stop one of them partway up, and I'm just concentrating on the rightmost one right now, just to see that I can get one of these things up and running, and then a I'll work out how much iron I used in it, and I'll need to obviously go farming to get some more iron, because this thing is going to chew through all of the iron I have, no problems at all. So I've got the chest plate on the right side one done, so let's turn around and have a look at that. This thing, you may not quite be able to tell what it is when we turn around, but it will get clearer sooner or later. I'm also having a small visual bug with these right now. So there you go. This is the chest on the right side done. Now, it does actually have a shoulder pod that I'm currently working on, and if you haven't guessed it already, or you haven't really quite worked it out, these are the Guardian armor sections that I'm doing. So I'm doing 2 gigantic sets of Guardian's armor. So if I throw down this armor, and once again, I don't know why I'm getting that visual glitch, maybe just because I have way too much iron on the place. You can see that it's kind of got the belt is not really there because it's too small to try and get that detail in, but then the chest piece has actually got some of the detail involved. So if we have a look here, we've got that kind of upward stretch, and then the chevron thing doesn't quite come out well, but it looks alright, I think, and it's got at least a marking on the chest. However, when we finally finish these things off, there will be a big glove in front of the chest, so you won't actually see most of this detail. And then we've only just started working on this section here, this kind of shoulder pod section, and that's what you can see up there. Now, we do have a little bit of the detail in here, however, we're not going to have all of the detail. So this thing, the detail is actually literally just going to be kind of like this, just a big star shape up on that pod there. So that's what this is going to look like, except for with a hole in the middle. Because, yeah, it's literally just not going to be possible with the size of blocks I have to get all of that detail involved. However, we do have the holes in through here, and we do have the little rounded shoulder on the other side as well. So, I don't know, I think this is coming along pretty well so far. But like I said, there's still a lot more work to be done, and I'm definitely going to have to go and get some more iron as well for these guys. So, the other thing that I'm very happy about is that these aren't going to block the view of the volcano too much. As you can see, this one's going to kind of come up over here, and the shoulder pad will be out kind of in this general area. So you're actually going to be able to see up through to the middle of the volcano pretty easily, which will be really good to see. And then, of course, we're going to have the lava flow come down the volcano, which will be awesome as well. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. I reckon I'm going to see if I can get the helmet done of this guy and finish off the shoulder pod as well with the amount of blocks I have left. Obviously, I do have nearly 10 stacks of iron ore down in my chest at the back there. But I am going to see what I can do with the 100 blocks that I've got left. So, here we are. We've got 3 iron blocks left. Just 3. Let's take a look at how far this extra 100 blocks we had got us. So, that's it. We've now got the shoulder pod in place. So, if I have a look here, as you can see as it swings around, we've got the shoulder pod in place. I like the look of that, actually. I think that little design works really well. And then we've got part of the helmet coming in, and that is it. That's all we managed to get out of the 100 extra blocks of iron that I had. Now, I did have made a small, well, kind of error, but kind of not in here. So you can see up through the helmet at the moment. That was kind of on purpose. I wanted to actually use the blocks that I had for doing the outside shape and not just filling in a massive area. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and get out all of the iron that I possess, run it through this ginormous setup of forges that I have down here, and see how many blocks we can get out of it. So all of that iron that we had left in that chest is now completely gone, and as you can tell from my hands, I have actually done a little bit more building because we don't have the full stack like I said we would. So if we turn around here, you'll get your first glimpse at what these things are going to look like and how they're all going to come out, because I've finished the right one, well, at least part of the right one. So this guy here is now almost done. He just needs hands to be completely finished. But as you can see, I'm starting to run out of metal. I'm also running out of time a little bit for this week to record these things. Now that the sun's back up, this is a lot better view of this guy. Have a look at that. I think this is coming along quite well. These are going to be very, very impressive once I've got the hands and everything sorted out and done and dusted for them. So as I was saying before, I am actually out of time now to record this episode, quite simply because I am going to be going away next week, which means that all of the stuff that I want to show you for this week and next week, I actually need to record all at the same time. So next week's episode is also going to be quite a short one, simply because I've only got a little while to record it, and there's still a few bits and pieces I want to do, like gather up more material so that we can at least attempt to finish this guy off. Because obviously, the 121 blocks that we have right now are definitely not going to finish off that guy at all. That's just, it's not going to happen. So yeah, we're going to need to go out and do a bit of farming. I'll probably do that as soon as I finish recording this clip, actually. I'll go out and I will farm some more metal up and we can start working on the other side statue. But for now, this has come out pretty well, I think. And I really like the way it's all come out. I love the shoulder pod, how that's come out. And I love a little T-piece on there too, which is looking quite good. The one thing I might want to end up doing is actually change some blocks in the visor slit so that you end up with some eyes in there. Now, this may not be all that worth it. I mean, you can't really see them from down on the ground. So if we jump up here for a second, you'll be able to see that there are kind of spots for the eyes to go, but not really. So look, there you go. This is what it looks like from a little bit further up. And then yeah, you would need to put eyes kind of in here and in there to make it look half decent from this type of level. But as most of the time we'll be wandering around down on these pads, I think it should be okay for now. I'm still getting this coloring bug happening. I'm not sure why that is. I might have to tweak some of my settings between episodes to see if I can get this to disappear. But yeah, so that's it. That is one full Guardian set of armor done. Well, obviously, except for the gloves. And yeah, obviously next time we're going to start again on the other side and keep going with that one and build it up to this level here at the very least. I might have to leave the hands for a later date because I'm definitely not going to get enough iron in the meantime to build both the chest, the helmet, and the gloves on both of these things. So that'll have to wait for another day. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to finish this episode off here, and then next episode we'll get started on building the rest of this guy up. So I'll see you then.